Paula and Katie go to their first co-teaching interview.
I am Paula Salas, and I'm a graduate from the University of Florida.
And I am Katie McCabe, and I am also a graduate from the University of Florida.
During our years in college, we observed our pre-internship classroom and created a resource guide about the third graders.
In that resource guide, we collected and organized data from test scores, gradebooks, information from an informal survey we gave to our students that would tell us more about their individual backgrounds, educational careers, likes and dislikes about school, and some fun facts about themselves.
In our future classroom, we will use this type of resource guide to research and collect information on the individual needs of each student, so we would mold our teaching methods accordingly.
We interviewed our students about basic facts such as their age, birthday, favorite color, and hobbies. Just knowing these basic facts about a student, and more importantly remembering them, can show a student that you care. When you genuinely care about a student, they definitely respect you more.
We asked them to share their favorite and least favorite subjects with us. After also collecting their students' reading, writing, and math grades, we saw an interesting correlation between high grades and favorite subjects and low grades and least favorite subjects. A lot of students also named specials as their favorite subject or favorite part of the school day.
Formal data we collected included students' FAIR scores. We also recorded their individual FSP scores, or FCAT success probability. Most of the at-risk students also had lower grades in reading, writing, or math too.
We noted whether students were pulled out for gifted programs or intervention programs, and also whether or not they had been retained a grade.
Observing student work and reading student essay responses also gave us a lot of insight into their role models and what motivates them.
By having students' class grade averages and FAIR scores readily accessible, teachers can keep an eye out on struggling students throughout the day. Also, by being aware if the subject being taught is among the students' most or least favorite, teachers can monitor students' participation.
We asked the students whether they preferred doing schoolwork inside or outside. Knowing this allows us to see which environment the student feels the most comfortable in. In some lessons, if possible, we can split the group into their most comfortable environment, while one of us will teach outside and the other will teach inside. Especially living in Florida, students can definitely appreciate taking advantage of the nice fall weather.
Knowing which students get pulled out for gifted or intervention programs also helps teachers plan lessons accordingly. In the case of our pre-internship classroom, those students in reading interventions were allowed playtime when they were done with their work because intervention reading meant missing recess. This is something a teacher must keep in mind about her students.
Many of our students are also on free and reduced lunch. This is something to keep in mind because it can affect students' ability to concentrate during lessons. Students who are hungry or undernourished will not think about school until their basic needs are met, and more than likely their schoolwork is the last thing on their mind.
In our specific case, 2 of our students spoke only Spanish at home, but had tested out of ESOL in the first grade. These 2 students show little advancement in reading. Both are in reading intervention classes and would certainly benefit from ESOL instruction.
As a teacher, it is important to know the background of each student so that if they are not receiving adequate support from the school, you can provide it for them in your lessons.
We can use data about students' hobbies or home life to engage student background knowledge or their various funds of knowledge. For example, Bubba lives on a farm and his family raises cows, so putting this into writing or math lessons would be engaging and help Bubba relate to his classmates. Avery knows everything there is to know about dogs, so engaging this knowledge would help her pay more attention and share more relevant information with her class.
After observing student work, we determined who worked better in pairs, small groups, individually, or in a whole group setting. As teachers, we can accommodate for this by placing desks strategically, whether it be in groups or rows.
We surveyed students on how they learn best, individually, with a partner, small groups, or whole groups instruction. Many of them chose partner or small groups, while a few of the quieter students chose individual. We believe that this is very important information, for traditional teaching styles offers mainly whole group instruction. After asking the students why they chose what they did, one student said that whole group instruction was best because he doesn't have to pay attention to the teacher, while the other one that answered whole group instructions said that he never got called on.
By asking the students who they live with, we were able to figure out if they lived with parents or another caregiver. In the beginning of the year, we would also try to communicate with the family by a letter or survey sent home or a home visit if possible. This survey can help us establish an effective line of communication in a way that the parent or caregiver feels most comfortable with.
In our survey, we asked students what they want to be when they grow up. Many students put the occupation of their parents or the occupation that makes the most money. For example, one student answered that she wants to be an assistant manager at Publix, while another student said that he wants to be a cop because they make a lot of money. Asking students who they admire the most, or in our case, reviewing essays they write about a person who is special to them, is another way to find out who they're the closest with. Most students will pick someone close to them and not just a famous person or celebrity.
After doing research in our pre-internship classes, we have decided that a democratic classroom is the best way for students to learn. Instead of teaching in a traditional manner, we plan on implementing a more community-based learning process where the students have a voice in what they learn.